Welcome back. Now more Utopia. Our next adventure is along the southern border of Utah. Westwater Canyon is a section of the Colorado River famous among rafters who like a little adrenaline on their float. This 2-day trip with Class 4 rapids is an adventure at any time of year, but the outing took place in November in freezing temperatures, which was an added challenge. Kudos to our crew for bringing these sounds and images back to share with our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, Westwater Canyon.
Welcome to Utopia, where we always encourage our audience to take on outdoor adventures that challenge and push the individual beyond where they have gone before. Hiking, biking, climbing, and yes, rafting. Westwater Canyon is a section of the Colorado River that recently challenged our longtime collaborator, Dave G., otherwise known as Captain Otter Pop. As avid rafters know, most river runs have sections of whitewater rapids, and this one is no different. The names of these rapids often tell you something about them. The Class 3 and 4 rapids we will run on this trip are Funnel Falls, Skull Rapid, and Sock It To Me. I guess we'll find out if they live up to their names. The put-in for the Westwater section is Loma. The takeout will be in Cisco near Moab. That is, if we make it. The 2-day trip covers 17 miles, so we'll enjoy one night on the sandy banks of this mighty river. We shuttle a vehicle to the takeout. Hiring a shuttle is also an option. As always, make sure to tip your shuttle driver. The gear we need includes tents, sleeping bags, coolers for food and drinks, river toilet, axe, camp stove, fire pan, and fire blanket, throw bag, repair kit, hand washing station, extra oar, pump, sand stake, plenty of PBR, and water. 10 gallons for 4 people. And because we are floating in November, when overnight temperatures drop to the low 20s and only reach the high 40s during the day, we don dry suits that we rented from the wonderful crew at Utah Whitewater in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, so I've got this pal who's like, oh, you guys are going rafting on Friday? I'm like, yeah. Like, isn't it a little cold? There's snow outside. I'm like, yeah, it's cold. That's the fun part.
Joining us on this adventure is Curtis Perry, aka Big Water, and our new friend, Jeff Patzer, also known as Mr. Potato Head Pants. In our crew, everyone gets a river name that reflects their personality, or it might reference some debacle from a previous river trip.
Yeah, Justin says he doesn't even remember that trip.
The wildlife is abundant in this section of the Colorado. Wild turkeys, mule deer, bald eagles, golden eagles, and even domesticated animals like this herd of sheep. You may also see the sheep handlers in the form of canine sentries closely watching their flock. The early hours of the trip are spent in calm waters, soaking up the sun and getting in tune with our gear and the river. Captain Otter Pop spends the time anticipating the whitewater ahead. The first time he sees Skull Rapid will be as he steers the raft through it. Big Water Curtis has run this section a dozen times before, so he helps strategize the approach.
And so once you're in that lateral crasher, you have a choice of, pulling the couple or bracing.
Yeah.
We encounter small rapids on the first day. The big ones are not until day 2. But rivers are alive and constantly evolving, so we can't become complacent. A fallen rock or a downed tree can create new hazards, so we constantly read the water ahead.
You wouldn't want to hit that one right there.
That one.
Yeah.
Tall, pointy one. Dude, you're really good at
Any
that.
one of these submerged boulders could easily flip the raft. Westwater Canyon section of the Colorado requires permits from the Bureau of Land Management. The BLM issues a maximum of 5 permits per day, or 75 people, whichever comes first. Today, the river is flowing at 2,600 cubic feet per second, which is relatively mellow, but expected at this time of year. For a more intense experience, whitewater enthusiasts float in early summer when snow melt is at its peak. To check river conditions and flow rate, always visit the USGS website for specific water data before your trip. About 2 hours into our adventure, we spot an old prospector's cabin, so we stop to explore. While the trip will take a full 2 days, we still find time to stop for side missions. Of particular note in this section of the Colorado is the geology. Dark black rock, the size of large skyscrapers called Vishnu schist, which is 2 billion years old, slides by. In stark contrast is the pink Zoroaster granite, topped by red sandstone. After 8 miles of fun in the sun, we stopped to set up camp at a spot called Hades Bar. The fact that all these locations have names related to death and destruction remind us that with real adventure comes real danger. Maybe that's part of what brings us out here. Morning of the second day dawns bright, sunny and cold, and the crew is eager to get back on the water. As we set out, Captain Otter Pop anxiously shares tips on what to do if the raft flips. Stay calm, stay with the boat. Try to get back on top of the boat. When you get your bearings, look for other people that were on your boat. If you separate from the raft, swim to a safe spot. Usually that's the shore. And make sure your feet point downriver as you scramble. And most importantly, try not to spill your drink. Tension is high as we stop before the Skull Rapid to scout it from the shore. Since Big Water Curtis has been here before, he points out the proper approach to Captain Otter Pop. People have died here. At least that's what Big Water Curtis told Captain Otter Pop. But as with most adventures in the wild, the anticipation can be more intense than the impending obstacle, a fact that is not lost on Curtis. Back on the raft, we approach Skull Rapid, and everything seems to happen in slow motion. Captain Otter Pop aims the bow at the square cutout on the shoreside rock face that was pointed out earlier from shore. As soon as the raft is parallel to the flow, Captain Otter Pop pulls back hard on the oars, crashing through the lateral waves. He then squares up, barely missing Razor Rock. Who cares now? Takeout is still a few miles downriver, and Jeff takes the oars from Curtis to enjoy these final moments before the real world creeps back in. And while this trip was full of adventure, the true reward is the escape from the concrete jungles and the daily grind. The end of a river trip is always sweet sorrow, Wet, tired, and cold, we pull into the dockage, feeling depleted, yet full. There really is nothing like a river trip with friends.
That's our show for the day. Thank you for joining us. If you would like to see any shows you may have missed, please visit our website at utopiatvseries.com. And if you would like to make a request or have some input on future episodes, feel free to drop us an email while you're there. We are in this together, and only together will we save the places we deem so special. And remember, we don't inherit the earth from our parents, we borrow it from our children.